It doesn't have to be glucose. Here.
I know, I was drawing it too.
You want to focus that a little better. There. See, look. Your liver is very important in breaking down the foods that you take in. And what the liver does is it's just going to take the lipids and break them into the triglyceride that you learned about in chapter 2. And they are going to go into glycerol and fatty acids, and they all go through different pathways in the liver to produce the pyruvic acid. But pyruvic acid is what's going to go into basically the mitochondria. Amino acids can, and some of the fatty acids can. But these are, by and large, the less important pathways of metabolizing foods. There's your culprit right there. This is the carbohydrates, which are stored in your muscles and blood and liver as glycogen, which can be reversibly converted into glucose and glycogen back and forth by the liver. The liver gets good at it. If you're interested in weight loss, your culprit, I've said this over and over and over again, is sugar. Sugar, sugar, sugar. You look at the drinks, that Dr. Pepper there probably got at least 38 molecules of sugar in it. And sugar is going to be converted by the liver into glycogen, and you don't burn up glycogen. You know, you can run a mile on what stored glycogen you have. So you run a mile, you burn up the glycogen you haven't even started on fats. You go home because you're thirsty and drink a Coke, you actually can gain weight exercising. See? I mean, it's just the cold facts of life, believe me. The bottom line, any of these foods, lipids, carbs, and proteins are processed by the liver and then are going to be utilized in the cellular respiration for energy or for building blocks let's say, for muscle. All right. Here is the first step. This is the one that you need to be aware of right now. This is the glycolytic step. Glycolysis. Glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm. It is anaerobic. In other words, it does not need oxygen to proceed. The byproducts. Oh, enzymes are needed. And fourthly, the byproducts. Are 2 ATP net, two NADHs, and pyruvic acid. Often called just plain old pie base. And that's all I'm going to ask you to know. This is what happened for 1 you send one glucose into glycolysis. You will get out of it, after being processed, 2 ATPs, 2 NADHs, and pyruvic acid. All right. If, as it's happening right now, your activity level is so low that you are able to process the pyruvic acid, what happens is that the pyruvic acid is going to go through this decarboxylation process that I described earlier, and it goes into the Krebs cycle. It's also called the TCA cycle. All right. But if you are exercising and you are active, really active, the pyruvic acid builds up like the water being turned on in the sink with the stopper not very well open. The water begins to build up. So with the buildup of pyruvic acid, lots of things happen. The pyruvic acid is converted into lactic acid, and lactic acid has 2 effects. One, in small amounts, it stimulates muscle contraction. But in large amounts, it damages muscle. All right? Now, let's say, for example, that you go over to the gym and you start lifting weights this afternoon and you've not done that in a long time. You lift weights, and you're pushing it, and you're like that. Did you feel the burning in the muscle?
Ooh.
The burning of that muscle is the lactic acid buildup, and it is damaging muscle, and the muscle then is torn down and it rebuilds stronger. Muscles are a use it or lose it tissue. If you use it, the muscles rebuild stronger than they were before. If you don't, they go through muscle atrophy or muscle demise. Now, if you exercise and you are converting pyruvic acid into lactic acid, because the lactic acid can't be, or the pyruvic acid can't be sent through the Krebs cycle because of your inability to supply oxygen, then the lactic acid builds up, and you're building what we call an oxygen debt. This lactic acid builds up as the oxygen debt. And thus, when you finish your exercise, you still got to get rid of the lactic acid, so you pant after exercising. You breathe heavily after exercising. And what you're doing at that point is you are converting lactic acid back into pyruvic acid, and as you can provide oxygen, you're going to burn the pyruvic acid up in either the Krebs cycle and the cytochrome hydrogen transport system that we haven't covered yet.
Can you say that again one more time?
When you stop exercising, the lactic acid then is brought back into the system as pyruvic acid, which is then sent into the Krebs cycle because at the level of you're providing oxygen, you'll be able to process the buildup of lactic acid followed by the buildup of pyruvic acid. If you are aerobically fit, you may run up and down the stairs 5 times, come up to the top, and it might take you less than 30 seconds to get rid of the lactic acid that was built up during that exercise event. If you are in lousy shape, you might pant for 4 minutes because you are not capable of providing your body enough oxygen to burn up the pyruvic acid as fast as it's being produced as you exercise. All right? The burning up of pyruvic acid is strictly based on your aerobic abilities. The better aerobic shape you're in, the faster you will burn up pyruvic acid as you send it through the glycolytic step. All right? So that leads us then into this transparency, which is the Krebs cycle, or the PCA cycle. Yeah.
Whenever you get a massage too, don't they say that the knot or the buildup of lactic acid is that something
Yeah.
is that also because of?
Right, because when they're massaging your muscles, it's contracting. Because when they're really giving you a really deep muscle massage, they're causing those muscles to contract. They're just building up the lactic acid. That's why they want you to drink water after you get a massage and you are trying to get rid of the lactic acid.